Welcome to Epic Thread Tales, where I read your posts and comment on them.
Am I the asshole for giving my twins names my husband and I wanted them to have instead of family names like is tradition? My family traditionally passes down family names as first names. I was named after two grandmothers. Both had the same first name. My brother is named after an uncle, and my sister is named after a cousin who died in infancy. My mom is named after her great-grandmother. Her siblings were named after different aunts/uncles/grandparents. My grandma was named after a sibling of hers who died in infancy, and her living siblings were named after other family members. I have cousins named after family members. My mom has cousins named the same way. The relatives do not need to be dead to be considered. But if we have a recently deceased family member, it's considered the correct thing to use those names. I always went by my middle name. I like it far better. It was a name my dad wanted me to have, and nobody else in the family has it, which is a bonus for me. And because of this, I always wanted to break the tradition, something my husband is eternally grateful for, because his style of names, like mine, are not like my family's style of names. We had boy/girl twins 2 weeks ago, and we chose to name them names we loved versus family names. Our daughter is Piper, and our son is Robin. We chose not to give them family names as middle names and went with names we felt worked for them, but that we also loved as well. My family were upset, and especially because the last of my great-uncles died recently, and it was expected my son would be Gerald after him. My daughter was expected to be Jennifer or Patricia after my aunts, who have the least number of kids named after them. I had told my family ahead of time we were not going to follow the tradition, but clearly they didn't believe me because we got a lot of negative comments from my side about disrespecting my family and breaking their hearts with the snub toward my great-uncle. I told them the twins are our children, and others could choose to continue the tradition. My dad was the only person not upset. He told me he was glad I did what I wanted. He also knows I prefer to use my middle name instead of my first name. He was forced into continuing the tradition from Mom's family with all of us, so his support means a lot. He could back up my mom for the sake of it. Some of my family have made some pretty hurtful comments, and I have taken some space. But it also makes me feel guilty that they're so angry and hurt at my decision. Am I the asshole?
OP, I have 2 questions. Were these family members you are all named after born with these names? No, they weren't. Their parents chose names for them, which you are doing. Plus, this is a really idiotic way of honoring your ancestors, in my opinion. Picture this. You tell a story about Uncle Gary to someone in your family. You will be thinking of one Uncle Gary, and they will all be thinking of a different Uncle Gary. You will not be honoring the memory of your ancestors. Their identity will just disappear into a sea of others with the same name. Plus, this is literally what a family name is for. OP, you and your husband get 0 out of 5 assholes. Your dad gets 0.5 out of 5 assholes for caving and continuing the tradition with you and your siblings. The rest of your family gets 3 out of 5 assholes.
Am I the asshole for not letting my sister's best friend help me with my workouts? My 20M sister, 18's, best friend, 18F, is a fitness enthusiast. In addition to playing basketball, she also goes to the gym and does a lot of weightlifting and CrossFit stuff. After finding out I decided to start exercising, she said she's bored lately and asked if she could help me learn different exercises. Said that she is thinking about becoming a trainer one day and wants to try her hand at it. I figured, sure, why not? She introduced me to the machines and how to use each one, making I start with the light weights. Also, free weight exercises. The thing is, she started touching me to make sure I'm engaging the correct muscle groups. Said that the most important thing is for me to avoid injuring myself. Now I know that she doesn't have any hidden intentions. I understand she isn't trying to seduce me or whatever, but it still feels awkward having her touch my arms and thighs when I have a girlfriend, especially considering that my girlfriend isn't happy about it. It made me feel conflicted about how to proceed. I told my girlfriend there is no way my sister's friend likes me, but my girlfriend said that there's a small chance. So, after 2 sessions, I told my sister's friend that it can't go on. I also told her that I appreciate her help and am thankful, but that it really makes my girlfriend uncomfortable. She was offended and said in this joking way that if she wanted to steal me away, it would only be too easy. But then she got serious and told me I should stand up for her since we've known each other for years now, instead of just bending over for my girlfriend. That she can really help me get in shape and would like to do so. She told me I shouldn't be uncomfortable since she's only making sure I'm using the right muscle groups and avoiding injuries.
OP, a personal trainer, would never touch someone without permission. And the way she responded to you, telling you she could easily steal you away, says it all. OP, you are not the asshole. You get 0 out of 5 assholes. Your sister's friend gets 3 out of 5 assholes.
Am I the asshole for wanting my boyfriend to leave after his surprise visit? My boyfriend and I both live in different EU countries. It is currently 3 a.m. I am typing this as he sleeps. However, he just visited yesterday at around 8:30 p.m. without telling me he would do so beforehand. He has asked me whether I would be fine with him doing surprise visits, and while I generally am not against them, I made it clear to him multiple times already that he should not do them until July. Just for context, he visited me in my dorm room. I am a medical student and have an important upcoming exam I need to study for. I really do enjoy his company, and he even brought me an expensive gift, but I cannot help but feel not listened to in the sense that I clearly did tell him I needed space and time to study for my exam over the next 2 weeks. Am I the asshole for wanting him to leave tomorrow morning without having spent much time together at all?
No, OP, you are not the asshole. You communicated your need for him to stay away so you could study, but he did not listen. OP, you get 0 out of 5 assholes. Your boyfriend gets 3 out of 5 assholes.
Am I the asshole for making it clear to my sister that my son won't be helping her with stuff? My 8-year-old son has dyspraxia, which is a neurological condition that affects coordination and movement, for anyone who has never heard of it before. He struggles not to drop or break things, doesn't have good eye-hand coordination. He has always appeared clumsy, and while he does his very best to be careful and to take good care of things, he can't always prevent accidents, breakages, or spillages from happening. This is something my sister has expressed frustration about over the years. He was the type of toddler, and now kid, who will be eating or drinking something, and it falls to the floor, or he knocks stuff over without meaning to because he's reaching for something else. It's not his fault. He does OT to help him and has done physio in the past to boost his strength. But there is no cure. He's just getting help to go through life. My son has broken many things because of his condition. If it belonged to someone else, we have always replaced it or paid for the damages. We also started making sure he used his own stuff/our stuff to prevent this from happening, especially toys my sister's kids have. But his condition means he can't do everything other kids his age might be able to do. Now this is a huge problem for my sister. Last weekend, my son spent the day with my parents while my wife and I were attending an event. My sister went to my parents and asked for my son to help her and her kids pack up stuff for their move, and my son said he couldn't help, and he was sorry. My sister told him he's a big boy now and should be helping, but my son told her he doesn't do that kind of stuff. My parents told my sister to leave. She confronted me after this and asked me what I was teaching my kid when he won't help out family. I told her we're teaching him to work within his means and to not help out someone who will berate him for his condition, which she will do. She said we're coddling and spoiling him, that he's more than old enough to learn how to be more careful, to do better, and to cause less accidents and make fewer mistakes, and he needs to learn to help family. And we need to make him do stuff for family to be good parents. I told her my son will never help her with stuff because she lacks the compassion and understanding that his efforts would require. Her response was that it was an asshole thing to say, that he wouldn't help specifically her, and that she's still his aunt and my sister, and I'm supposed to be her brother. I told her she's supposed to be my sister and my son's aunt, but she edges on bullying him over this, and it does not make her a suitable person for him to try helping out. She asked me for an apology and for me to make this right. She told me I owe her that much at the very least. Am I the asshole?
OP, some people could argue you could have chosen your words more carefully, but I disagree. Your sister needed a taste of reality. OP, you get 0 out of 5 assholes. Your sister gets 3.5 out of 5 assholes. She just seems like a really unpleasant person to be around.
Am I the asshole for telling my sister to stop screaming at me when I didn't choose my name? Our parents did? I'm 17F, the youngest of 5, and my oldest sister Barbara, 27F, is expecting a baby girl in July. Barbara and I were never close. She always resented me more than our other siblings, though she has issues with 2 others as well and isn't very close to them. But me? Oh, she has said multiple times our family would have been better if our parents never had me. She blames her dislike on me being such a baby, my whole life, and how our parents coddled me. None of my other siblings feel the same way she does. My brothers, the 2 siblings she also has issues with, said Barbara always had weird resentments about the 3 of us. My other sister, the one sibling she has a good relationship with, told me to ignore Barbara, and her hate of me is irrational and comes from her being envious of another girl in the family, if anything. From what my sister told me, Barbara feels life would have been better with just the 2 of them in the family. So it is what it is. I gave up on expecting our relationship to improve with time. Now I feel like I might have another piece of the puzzle of why she hates me. And this is centered around names. My name is Lark, and apparently Barbara loves the name and wants to name her baby Lark, but she doesn't want to name her after me, doesn't want us to share a name, and she feels it's so unfair that Lark is off the table all because of me, when it's not, but her hatred of me is why she has it off the table. She doesn't want her daughter to grow up close to me. She said it herself. This was mentioned on Saturday, and Barbara went from grumbling about it to screaming into my face that it was so unfair, and I was so selfish, and she would never name her kid after me, and why did I have to steal the name she wanted most for her daughter? It pissed me off, and I told her to shut up and stop screaming at me because I didn't choose my name. Our parents did, and I had no say in what they named me. I also accused her of being jealous of my name and hating me so passionately for that, but I told her I chose none of our names, and I never prevented her from naming her daughter Lark. Barbara and her husband accused me of dismissing her feelings. My siblings and parents told her to leave, and they stood on my side. But Barbara's husband said I had the chance to really be a good sister, and I chose instead to treat her like she was unreasonable. I think she was. The rest of the family do too. But am I the asshole for what I said?
OP, you are absolutely not the asshole. Your sister is just a selfish person with deep-seated issues, and I'm confused as to why her husband is calling you unreasonable. What are you supposed to do? Change your name? The name you have been using your entire life and your parents chose for you? OP, you get 0 out of 5 assholes. Your sister and her husband get 3 out of 5 assholes. That was Am I the Asshole? If you want to see more, come back tomorrow at the same time, or choose one of the other videos to watch.